So we're going to try to start the VMix replay system. So here's going to be a quick tutorial of how to show you how to do that. First off, you see all the monitors are black here. So we're going to need to power on each monitor. And the power button is right here. You also need to check to make sure that both CPUs are turned on. We have the VMix replay unit here and just an HP computer that's powering this monitor. So when you sign on, you're just typing in DLMD and hitting enter. Now we're going to turn on the other monitor as well. And this is our MultiViewer. We'll turn this on and this will be used later. So the first thing you need to do is you can see that if I'm toggling my mouse here, I can't get over to the other monitor. So down here is a toggle button so we can switch between the two monitors. So if I just hit this toggle button here, it'll take a second to load, and now I can switch between the two monitors. So I want to open up VMix Replay, which is right here, an icon on the desktop. I'll open that up. And now you'll just see a couple of blank screens here. So now what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to add our camera inputs. And right here is where you see add input. So now I hit just camera here. And I need to link the Pro Capture Quad SDI1. This would be camera 2 on the sports replay. Always 5994 and 1280 by 720. Now I'll hit OK. And as you can see, our camera feed comes up. We have two cameras in the gym right now, so I'm going to want to bring the other camera feed up. So once again, camera. Now I want to go to Pro Capture Quad SDI 00-2. Same settings, 1280 by 720 and 5994. If I hit OK, now I see the other feed from the camera.
And which cameras are these numbered inside the...
Inside the gym, these would be cameras 2 and 3. So one would be, actually I'll go back to the camera feed here. So camera 1 would be Pro Capture Quad SDI 00-0. Camera 2 is actually 1 on here, and then so forth. This Pro Quad 2 is actually camera 3, and Pro Quad 3 is actually camera 4. But we only have the two feeds right now, so I'm just showing you the two camera feeds currently. Cancel that. Okay. So now we need to be able to send this feed to external. So we would need to first off get the replay in there and then send it to our MultiViewer. So back again to add input, you'll just click on the actual text here and then it opens up this box, the input select box. Now go down to instant replay. And as you can see, we have our two cameras linked up here, Pro Capture Quad 1 and Pro Capture Quad 2. So that's all good. And another thing too that you need to be mindful of for each game is the amount of disk space that's being used by each session. So if you have two games, that's going to be about 5 hours worth of recording time. And as you can see here, there's only about 2 hours left. But for this purpose, and because we have some game footage that I would like to show you, I'm not going to delete any of this. But just so you know, be mindful of this so that you actually have enough disk space to be able to record both games from. So here we are, we just hit OK now, we make sure that our cameras are connected, hitting OK, and now it will pin to the other monitor. So now we have this, and just to test this out, I'm going to go ahead and quickly play something. On this monitor, you can actually see that these are the camera inputs. So whatever's selected down here is what it's actually going to play on the instant replay. So for this purpose, we'll stay with camera 1. Now if you look over here to this keyboard, and I'll kind of have to show you, but we have a clip selected, and there's now on the keyboard it says play selected. So we'll go ahead and play that, and then it will come up on our monitor and can be routed into the MultiViewer for game use. Finally, like I said, we need this MultiViewer on this blank screen up here. So what you'll need to do is click the external tab, and then we'll see it on the MultiViewer. If you look on the MultiViewer, it shows you our camera feed from camera 2 and our camera feed from camera 3. On the top left is where our preview screen is. So whatever's showing up on the preview screen, we will be able to see it on the MultiViewer for the director, and they'll be able to take that clip and play it during the broadcast. So once again, I'm going to show you on the MultiViewer an example of a preview.
And why are we not hearing anything?
There's no audio we wouldn't get audio on this. There's no audio for the replay anyway, but. Another one too that I didn't actually show you was you have to be recording on those cameras. So just the way that it is on these two camera inputs, I wouldn't be able to record anything until I hit record. So you can either do that with the mouse here and hit record, and it'll give you a little icon that says live here. So now, once it's live, I can record anything from these two camera feeds. You can also turn on the recording by hitting start record on the actual keyboard. A couple of other things with the keyboard. Once you're recording, you can go back 5 seconds. So that means 5 seconds in real time to go back into the replay, or you can go 7 or 10 seconds. You can also select which camera that you would like to take the replay from, and here it says select camera 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so on camera 1, we're going to take a 5-second replay so that it's added to our clip selection here. We're going to just assume that this is a basketball game. So what I would do is, off of camera 1, I'm going to add the details of what the play was. So in this instance, I'll say it was a 3-pointer. By number 23. And now I would just select that and click play selected on my keyboard, and then I would see that clip come up on the monitor. Okay, so here's an example of what we would actually use during the game. Now the director will say that get the replay ready, and they'll tell you which camera from. So in this circumstance, we'll say that the camera was on camera 3, the hero shot. So we can click it here on the monitor, but remember, if you do that, then it's going to play both. So if you just want it on camera 3, we'll need to deselect camera 1, so it just plays on camera 3. Now the director will say, ready replay. The replay operator will say, ready. And the director will call for the cue to say, play replay on camera 3. And you'll play selected. Now here's a timeline, so you'll need to count down 3, 2, 1, and then they can switch it back to live game action.
I'm sorry, I missed. Where's the timeline?
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. You moved a little quick, but
It's a 5-second
Yeah.
clip, so I can make it a little
Right.
bit longer. But okay, so the director asks you to play it off camera 3. The replay operator will say ready, play selected clip, and the timeline down here will need to be counted down. So the replay operator will say 3, 2, 1, and letting the director know that they need to switch back to live game action.
okay.
The way to switch the in and out points for each replay that you have selected, it's a little hard to see here, but there's a duration. So this tells you how long each replay clip is. So for instance, this clip is 3 seconds long, about 3.5 seconds long. If I want to drag the in so it's a little bit longer, or take the out so it's a little bit shorter, all I have to do is select the clip here, highlight it, and then use my toggle and my mouse to either toggle it so it's shorter, or to drag out the duration of the clip. So if I want to make it about 8 seconds on camera 3, I just drag it over to 8 seconds, and now I can play selected. And if you see here, it'll go about for 8 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then the director knows to switch it back to live game.
Okay.
If the director asks for both camera shots to be used, as far as cameras 2 and 3, all you would need to do is look here. You see camera 2 and then camera 3 are both lined up. All we would do is just click camera 2, make sure that the red box is selected for camera 3. It's about 5 seconds long. Let's say the director wants to make it about 7 seconds. We just drag that toggle over and drag out the out to about 7 seconds, and then play selected. And now it will play both clips for about 7 seconds, so that's about 15 seconds between the two. And this is always your timeline that you need to be looking at so you can tell your director how much replay is left. Anything else, Mark?
Okay. And it would be the same way if we wanted 1 or 4. We just make sure they're clipped.
Correct. Like let's say, so now I can select camera 1 and 4 and deselect cameras 2 and 3, and it'll be the same thing. Now I want to make these 5 seconds long. I just drag the in backwards to about 5 seconds and play selected. And then we have camera 1 and camera 4 now in the replay.
Okay. Can you reverse the numbers? Say I want camera 3 to play first instead of camera 2, or do they have to be played in chronological order?
I believe they have to be played in chronological order, but what you could do in that case is just play them back to back. So just have camera 3 then first, deselect camera 2, make sure the other camera inputs are deselected, and then you would just play selected. Then deselect camera 3, select camera 2, and then play camera 2. That's the only way that you'd be able to switch those up, I think. Now I'm going to show you a quick tutorial of how to build a playlist. This comes in use if there's at the end of the game or during halftime highlights. So what you'll do is come down here to add input again, click the text, and the box appears again. Now we'll click the list icon. So you just highlight that and click it. And we're going to go to the add button. So now we're going to try to add the highlights that we've exported onto the windows and then bring it back to VMix. So click add. And now here is all of our highlights from the game. So now we've added our highlight. And now we can come down here and click the OK box. Now the highlight comes down here, and you can actually see them. They come here in a list. So now to open up that list, we'll have to click the little gear next to the playlist, and then we can move both of our clips over to the playlist. So now once both clips are over here to the playlist side, then we just hit start, and those clips will play in the playlist, and they will be available for the director to take it on the MultiViewer. Another thing to pay attention to is once these highlights are started from the playlist, you'll have a time code here. So this clip we know that is 5 seconds long. So it's just counting down on the time code. And then the next highlight that we have is 25 seconds. So this is the way that we can count the director down to let them know how much time is left on the playlist. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to export some highlights. So let's say that all of these highlights are what we want to export. What I'll do is I'll just use my mouse and drag, so I can select everything in the timeline here. And now I'll come down to this box that says Export Clips. I'll click that, and now it'll open the Export Replay events. I'm going to want to browse to see where I'm going to export that to. And we're going to want to go to our men's championship highlights. So I'll click this folder. And once that's selected, now I can just hit select folder. And down here when you see events, it says selected 12. So that's all that I want. So you can either have selected 12 or all. And either way, because I have these highlighted down here, it will take all the clips that I have saved throughout the game and export them to the file that I want. So now that we've got it routed to the F folder here, now I can go ahead and export it. And as you see, it's loading. So it's showing me where it's exported to.
When it takes a clip, does it take only the clip you have highlighted, or will it send all 4 clips over?
You have to designate that. So either you have the selected, the amount that you've highlighted here, or you can play all. In this circumstance, I've selected them all, so either selected or all will be the exact same result.
Okay.
But it will, you have the choice to either take all or just the ones that you've highlighted.
But see, that's the 12 clips you have there. I'm talking, can I take clip 1, and clip 1 will give me camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, and camera 4, or is it only going to give me the camera
that are selected on
highlighted?
here?
Yeah.
Correct. That it will only give you the camera's inputs that are selected on here. So if you wanted everything, you would have to select them down here to actually be able to export that footage.
Okay.
So now we're going to try to take those clips and build a playlist from the clips that I've just exported. So we'll come down again to add input, go to list, add, and then we're going to try to find that men's basketball folder, which is right here, that we just saved those clips into. And now we will select the 12 clips we need and hit open. Now you can see that all of our highlights have been moved to the list mode. So now hit OK, and then come back down to the gear tab next to playlist, open that, and now we would just add our clips over. And once again, once you hit start, the playlist will play on the MultiViewer, so it's ready to go. I don't know why it's not stopping. In the playlist mode, you can actually decide which highlight comes up first. So in this case, if I wanted Miller's highlight to come, I can just use this, the up arrow, and it will move Miller's 2-pointer to the first highlight in the list. There's a block here. If I wanted to move that into the second, I could just do the same thing, click the up arrow, and it'll move it to the second line. So it'll be the second replay played on the playlist. Okay, so I'm going to show you the easy way now to just open up VMix, and it should have our camera inputs already plugged in once we plug them into the BNC and SDI inputs. So now we will just open up VMix again. You see here how everything is black on this screen. So now we'll go down, up to open, and we're going to click the default setup V20-40 VMix. And this will give us all of our presets. And now, because we just have the 2 cameras connected, you can see camera 2 and 3 here. So they're already ready to go. Now, we have to pin our instant replay over to this monitor. So we'll go down to add input, click the text, and then go to the instant replay tab, click that. Make sure that our camera inputs are there, and they are here. And then we'll hit OK. Now you'll see the instant replay unit being pinned over here. This is the instant replay controller. Now to get our MultiViewer up, we will want to click the external tab here at the bottom of this monitor. If you can see, the mouse is here. We just click the text on external, and the MultiViewer on the top pops up. Now we need to be able to record the actual game footage. So you can either...
Why are we not seeing the other camera up there on the MultiViewer?
This one down here?
Yeah.
On the left, because we don't have a camera input.
Yeah, but shouldn't we see both cameras up there? Okay.
It's whatever camera is selected.
I see, okay.
Yeah. So we just need to be able to hit record, and now we're ready to start recording. This time code here will tell you how much disk space is remaining. So it says there's about 2 hours and 12 minutes. That should be able to get you through one game, but it will not get you through 2 games. Now, once we're all done and completed, we need to be able to power the VMix instant replay machine down. So the first thing I will do is click stop record, pin back the instant replay tab, which is right here where my mouse is, and then you see it off of this monitor now. I also want to take the MultiViewer on the top off, so I will have to click the external tab again, and it asks you a question box to stop external output. Click yes, and as you can see, the monitor up top has went black. Now you can just go ahead and close it, and it'll say, are you sure you would like to close VMix? Click yes, and that's the process of closing VMix down. Okay, so here are some helpful tips if VMix isn't working properly. So what we'll want to do is go up to the settings tab up here at the top of the monitor and click settings. Then we'll want to go to external output. This is what we'll use when we have an issue actually getting the route up to the MultiViewer for the TDD and the director to use. For the external tab here, we want to make sure that all of these checkboxes are marked. So the VMix video and streaming needs to be marked, the external renderer needs to be marked, the use streaming settings needs to be marked, and the use display settings need to be marked. We also need to make sure that the device listed is Deck Link Video Render. Once all of these are selected, you've done all the troubleshooting that you need to do as far as settings are concerned. You also need to click the External To tab up at the top and make sure that 3 of the 4 boxes are clicked. The only one that is not selected of these checkboxes will be the VMix video and streaming box. On External To, we need to make sure the device linked is Deck Link Video Render 2. Once this is all checked and set up, then we know that all the settings are correct. We can hit OK, and it should play as normal. If not, make sure that you're talking to the engineer or a staff member to make sure that all the settings are correct. Another helpful tip is if you cannot toggle to the 2 monitors, make sure that you've clicked the switch down here. This way you can toggle the mouse between both monitors. So you'll just hit select here. It'll take a second, and now I can switch between my 2 monitors. Now, if you have any glitches, like a problem where the instant replay will not tab over or anything like that, the best practice is just to reboot everything. So we just want to unselect our external. It'll say stop external output. You'll hit yes. We'll pin back our replays to make sure that that is no longer highlighted. And now we can just go ahead and close down. Click yes to close VMix. And we will just reopen. And this is just to, sometimes we'll have some latency issues or some lagging, and this is probably the best practice, so we can try to eliminate that as best as possible. So now we'll go back to open, default setup, and we'll have our existing settings.